All right, all right, all right. We are live. Welcome everyone to this amazing show. I've got Rob and Heather all the way up, and I guess technically you're up for me or side, whatever the heck. You guys are in Missouri, so say hey to everyone. Say hey, Rob and Heather.
Hey.
Guys, this is going to be an incredible show. You're really going to want to pay attention because we're going to dive into just some of the amazing breakthroughs they've had. We've only been hanging out together for about 4 months now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, I'm just like, I just sent him a message. I'm like, guys, we got to do an interview. I'm like, you guys like, and what you're going to listen to is you're not just going to hear some pretty cool financial ones. The financial ones are great. We're going to talk about the strategies, the things that they've implemented, what shifts they've made, some stuff that you can really glean from and benefit from. But what's really going to be cool is who they become in the process and what's transformed in their marriage, their relationships, their kids, just as a whole. And we're just going to dig into all of that and how you can implement some of the things that they've been able to do, implement that into your own life and really get some of the same sorts of breakthroughs and transformations. So again, welcome, Rob and Heather. So excited to have you guys. So, I want to start with this because I want to talk about some of the big breakthroughs that you guys have had, but I couldn't help. We were right before this call. We were talking about how, this, if you're watching this later, right now it's Christmassy time. So, holidays and things like that. And for so many people, like it's the most wonderful time of the year. And it's so amazing. And people are just so delightful and everything's great. And there's mistletoes and, rainbows and unicorns and all these amazing things happening and Christmas magic. But for a lot of people, and maybe it's you watching this right now, you don't feel like that. And we were just talking about how for so many people, this is one of the darkest seasons of their life. And it's on annual, it's on repeat. It just happens every single year. And you feel even more alone. You feel even more broke. You feel even more depressed. And we were just talking about some of that. So I want to talk about just real quick, Rob, like, can you expand on that? Because we were getting kind of emotional right before this and it was really just beautiful. It's like, what was it like for you back a year ago, November, December time? Because again, if you're watching this, guys, and if you've had depression, if you've dealt with any sort of harmful thoughts, I mean, this is even the suicide rates, if you track them, they go up the most between typically Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day, because that's when people feel the most alone and down. And so, Rob, like, just share real quick, like, where were you guys at, on that level, like even just this time of year, a year ago?
Yeah. For me, like we were saying right before we started the recording, was just like from November to December, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. We start getting some holidays. You start getting away from work more. And for me, that like took away all of those distractions that I kept putting in place for myself through the earlier part of the year. And all of these things would start pouring into my head of like, you need to be doing better. You've got this crushing amount of debt. Your marriage isn't where it needs to be. Your relationship with your kids isn't where it needs to be. And it just kind of would always spiral to the point where when my wife and I would go out for basically once a year for our anniversary, we would take these notebooks, and we've joked about this before. I know, take these notebooks and just like go through like all of the regrets and how we need to be better next year. And that was like our one time to like meet.
Download
and
everything.
Yeah. So like the week of Christmas to New Year's was I wanted it to be great and I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to be, amazing for my family. But on the inside, I was just dying every year, that I was glad to be there, but at the same time, I couldn't wait for it to be over so I could just get back to work and forget about all this stuff, It was a mess. It was a complete mess.
So whenever you didn't have those distractions of work and stuff like that, just again, how would you cope with it? How would you deal with just feeling that loneliness or that downness or just feeling like you weren't enough?
Yeah. So it was, watch as much TV as possible, distract myself with food or things like that. We've talked before, I've gained, quite a bit of weight over the last couple of years due to that kind of thing of comforting myself with food when I wasn't just dealing with, the issues in front of me. Those were probably the two basic things, just as something to make me feel better or to put as much noise in my head as possible to drown out the things that I didn't want to face.
Yeah. And everybody who's watching here, I wanted to go into this real quick because this is a time of year for me as well. I know that, Rob, you talked about your darkness, and for me, there's a lot of light like this for my family. Like we were so excited about this Christmas, but a lot of you guys don't even know that even in my own story, years ago, when I was 17, my dad committed suicide. And the Christmas before that, I still remember, there was intense financial pressure. Their marriage was not where it needed to be, all of these sorts of things. And he was so depressed. He was so down. And I remember looking at him, and it was like the life was just completely gone. And guys, I want you to know, everyone watching this, that really just checking in with, like even Rob said, it's like letting myself go, giving up, and just kind of resigning to it. And guys, everybody listen, I think Rob, you would even agree with this, is that, guys, there's two forms of suicide. One of them is abrupt and one of them is quick. The other one is death by 1,000 bites, death by 1,000 clicks, death by 1,000 drinks, death by 1,000 smokes, death by 1,000 just sitting around, again, just because you've basically given up on life. And I remember Rob, you even shared that. Could you even speak to that? Because I remember you talked about how like it was basically like you just accepted it, like this is just what life's going to be. And
yeah, totally. I just felt like I was existing to pay the bills and to be as nice as I could be to the people around me, particularly my family. And the best thing I could hope for was to leave them with as little as debt as possible, point them to Jesus as much as possible. But my existence was basically for that, and that was it. And someday I would die, and that'd be about all. That there was nothing else really for me to accomplish here. So just kind of like, sorry, carry that burden until I'm gone. That's how I felt.
And Heather, what was it like for you just seeing Rob in that place so consistently? I remember you just saying like your greatest fear was losing him. And I didn't know if you meant by like physically, spiritually, just marriage, but what was it like just seeing him year after year suffer like that and just kind of start to give up?
Awful. We've had, pardon.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong. It's okay. I feel it.
Many, many conversations where he would tell me that, I can't take anymore. This is me. Notice me. I'm holding in my hands. I need help. Things have got to change. And though we both agreed and we both knew, we didn't know where to go. We didn't have a mindset that was conducive to changing the things that we needed to change. And it was, the anniversary dinners were not celebrations. I can think of a few over the last 10, 15 years that were good, but a lot of them came home either in tears or rather depressed with the state of things that needed to change. And I didn't, looking back, I thought at the time, we don't fight, not as I think people fight. We love each other. I love him with all my heart. We'll make it through this. But looking back, we would have made it through it, but it wasn't going to be a prosperous, joyful journey. It was going to be putting one foot in front of the other and helping as much as I could or I knew how, but I was at the end of my know-how as well.
So when you said you're afraid of losing him, did you mean just thinking that at some point he just might snap, or that at some point he just might give up or quit, or what do you mean?
Just, I could see the not suicide, not that kind of thing, but it was just the giving up.
Just losing that.
The joy was not there. I missed his laughter. I missed his singing.
And the real question is he singing now? That's the real question.
He is. I don't think he realized that I can hear him in the bedroom upstairs when he's down here. And there are days I just stand there and I listen because I miss it.
Yeah. So just again, to see, guys, it's so hard to appreciate sometimes. That's why we have to go into the past and bring it. But hopefully if you're watching, you can kind of start to get an idea of where it was really at. And the reason why I want to talk about this is, guys, we're talking about a few months. And Rob and Heather, it's like what you guys have achieved. I mean, some people in 30 years of counseling and psychotherapy and all this kind of stuff, it's like they're still not where you're at. And so I just want everyone to know, and guys, you were like this. I mean, who you are right now, just in terms of like this joy returning, this laughter, this sense of freedom and peace. I mean, you guys were getting to there even just a few weeks in.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that's what was amazing. It's like, this isn't like, oh, after 4 months, you're finally here. It's like, this has been you guys for months now. And so let's just even talk about that. So like when you first, you know, I know when you guys first came to us, obviously the debt wasn't going down. It'd been like that for decades. You know, you felt a sense of hopelessness or lifelessness, but what would you guys say was the real reason why it was so important for you to fix it? Was it just, you know, not losing each other? Was it what was happening with your kids? I mean, what would you say was that real motivation that just made you go, you know what, this is like, I'm not going to accept this anymore?
Well, I was just thinking about this and mentioned it to him yesterday, was that as far as the debt goes, we knew the snowball. We knew in our brains how it all functioned. He had a program written and we had a 3-year plan. We would be out of debt in 3 years. That was since Ferguson was 17 years ago.
Yeah, we've been saying that for quite a while.
I mean, we knew it all. Okay, we understood it. We went through other programs. We knew the debt snowball, how it worked.
Yeah.
But it was rinse and repeat. The money would disappear. I mean,
oh, this is so good.
He would get a better,
but then we talked about that every anniversary. So, you know.
Yes, every, you know, check mark the journal.
17 years of failure. Yeah.
Where did it all go?
10 years later, we're still going to start the snowball plan.
He would, you know, rightly so. I got a new job. We got a raise. Where did it go? It's always disappearing. You know, where? Oh man. And it was frustration after frustration that it was going, but there was no, as I said a while ago, no mindset change, no way to, we would consciously, okay, well, we're going to spend this money, but we didn't really track it to the point where, okay, where did it go? Well, I know we talked about it, but, you know, and then that would cause frustration. And it was just a continual rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So that's such a good point, Heather. I just want to elaborate on that, guys. The problem is not that you don't know how to do a debt snowball. The problem is not that you don't have the right software. Because again, this guy's in IT. He knows the software business. So
he wrote some.
He wrote this. He wrote the software. I mean, how freaking cool is that? I mean, so again, guys, like so many people come to us, and I just want to take this and elaborate on this, Heather, because it really, I believe it's going to give people a lot of hope, because they've been through the church, the free church programs, they've read the books, they've read about the snowball, all of the tactical strategic components. And while you do need a better strategy, most people, for how to manage your money and track it and things like that. And you guys have gotten that, and it's helpful, and it's great to get some of the techie sorts of components, but that wasn't the magic. That wasn't that brought things together and helped you guys actually take action on it and see that, you know, and take it to that next level. And that's what drives me crazy, is so much of the message is like, hey, just do this to get the snowball or to get out of debt. But it's like, okay, but then what about that next level? What about your full potential? And most people are not even living, you know, just this much of it. And so let me ask you then. So when you came in, and I remember Rob gave me the heart. I remember Rob, you told me this, you know, we did our call together. And I remember you said something like,
which one?
Yeah, which one? But
like
I could not stand you. Wasn't it like you, like I almost hung up on you because you just didn't, you know?
Yeah.
Several times.
Yeah.
You reached for the phone.
Yeah. Definitely. Because I thought I knew. I really thought it was all about logic and strategy and procedure. And if you just bore down, you know, emotionally on this and stuck to it, and threw the remaining happiness out of your life for the next 3 years and stuck to this budget, you could do it. And I didn't get that there was way more to it than that. And so the things that we've learned from you is not at all what I was expecting when we started talking. And I remember telling Heather, like after our breakthrough calls, I was just like, yeah, this guy, he's just going to tell us what we already know. It's just going to be the snowball thing, and that's going to be it. And, you know, and that so wasn't it. So it was there was such a small part of what we've learned. It's just been an amazing ride.
And honestly, we should have had that breakthrough call about 3 or 4 months earlier.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Because we scheduled an appointment with you.
Oh, yeah.
He sent me the webinar. I was watching it, relaxing in the bath or something. I don't know, hurrying because he told me he had made the appointment for like 2 hours later. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to watch this real fast. Then he sends me a text. I canceled it. We know how to do this. We'll just power down and stick our nose to the grindstone and get it done. Thank God we got it done 4 months later because my nose is about gone, and it's not getting us anywhere. So.
Yeah. So Rob, we get on the call. Rob doesn't like me, but guys, like part of what I love about it is that again, it's so many people. I mean, Rob, like, I know it probably drove you crazy to have to just kind of like open up, really try to get to the root of what's holding you back. But it was like, what has it been like? Let's just even start with that. Like, and this isn't to toot, our group or myself or the horn, but just in general, like, what is it like to have someone who is willing to be an advocate and really dig into and understanding your pain, but not only that, is committed to helping you succeed? What has it been like to have someone that was willing to go to those dark places with you, face them with you, even though it was uncomfortable at times, it's been difficult, but help you break free from that so that darkness doesn't control your life anymore? What was it like to just have that, even though at first it was uncomfortable, but just to feel that sense of freedom on the other side?
It's been amazing. I mean, I know that sounds trite, but it's, like I said, it's not been at all what I expected. If you had just, like, I hounded you on our breakthrough call of like, just show me the curriculum, man. I'm paying this money. Can't you just show me like the curriculum and I'll make a decision?
Just an outline.
Yeah, just the outline. I don't want to see all the details. And that wouldn't have helped. You were right. I mean, I just wasn't in the right headspace for it. But yeah, the journey has been amazing to be able to come to you and ask questions and get that feedback, which I was so cynical on the inside back then. I was just like, I wasn't expecting you to follow through on anything that you said, to be honest. I really.
Why do you think that is?
It's just because of
being burnt in the past.
Yeah, but I guess that's basically it. I mean, that's just really the short version, is just that after so many years of trying and failing and doing this wrong so many different ways, I didn't expect that this would be any different. I thought, yeah, Jeremy's just going to be one of those guys that takes the money and runs, and he'll send us an ebook, or he'll send us some canned audio recordings, but then he's never going to talk to us again, or it'll be someone that works for him, that talks to us in his stead. Yeah, a minion. But it's not. And I remember telling her, maybe just like a couple weeks into the program, like, I can't believe we get to talk to the guy all the time, and he actually responds and seems to give a rip about what we're doing. That has been such a game changer.
Every day. I mean, there for a while, it was every day that we were talking to Jeremy, and you would answer us within, minutes most of the time. It was just, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
What I love that. And then what would you say, like, I know, Rob, even though you said, like, you kind of expected that because you've been burned before, stuff like that, but just was it even deeper than that? It's like in terms of just like a trust, or having a hard time just opening up, or being able to like receive from someone. I mean, I just was curious, like, was there anything else that resonates on that level?
There's probably some pride there on my part. Like, I really thought that we could do it on our own, as we've, mentioned already. I really thought it was all about the math and logistics. And I was like, I didn't expect you to tell me anything different than that. I didn't realize how much emotional stuff I had on the inside of me that was keeping me from being able to live the way that I need to then be able to follow the debt snowball plan or whatever, and do the right steps. I didn't realize that there was emotions and thoughts and feelings and all of that was keeping me from taking those correct steps. I just thought it was just an act of will on my part to push through that.
So can you mind sharing just what were some of those for each of you? What were some of those big ahas or breakthroughs that really just helped you guys get that sense of freedom, or start to really, again, take the action and follow through and feel confident with where you're going?
Well, I know in the past, it's been, we'll get some extra money or something, and it's, well, we deserve to have this. We waited a long time, so there went that $300, or whatever. It's just, it was, as you said, death by 1,000. It was just constant, something that would distract us, and we didn't even realize, I don't think, that we were being distracted at that moment. It was just, I don't know if that would have been pride or just something else, that we deserve this. We're going to do it for ourselves. And okay, but what's the goal here? It was losing sight all the time of the goal, and then getting to the end of the year and saying, why aren't we any closer? It made no sense, but yet it was just like got lost in the shuffle.
So what would you say were some of those other, like some of the biggest scales that just fell off or came, ripped off your eyes, where you felt like you could see maybe clearly for the first time, or feel a sense of freedom or, confidence?
Let's see.
Because again, like, everyone watching this, that's what drives me crazy. It's like, oh, I'm just going to go take this church program or whatever. And it's some great stuff. There's some great verses and some great principles. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's like, you're just going to walk away with, you need to pay off debt. Okay, thank you. You need to have some good insurance. Okay, thank you for that. You need to have a retirement that you can be financial. Okay, thank you for that. You should really budget. Okay, thank you for that. But again, it's like, how? Why am I not doing it? Why do I keep falling short? Why is it not working for me? And again, I think that's people's biggest frustration for you. So what do you feel like were some of those big ahas that made you go, oh my gosh, that's why this has been so hard. That's why this has been so difficult. That's why I haven't stepped up to that level. And what do you think it was for you? What were some of those big key shifts?
Well, for me, it was being able to put my emotions in check, or to, as you would say, sit on them, and just realize that it was okay to feel that way, but not control me. Because if you can't tell by now, I'm a very emotional person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And when, I can tear up at a moment's notice if something is bothering me. And I learned over the years that I don't do it very well, but I can pack them down some. And one of the things I dreaded and hated and would get a pit in the middle of my stomach every time was when we had to talk about finances. And not talking about finances does not help you get in the right spot in your finances. So being able to now come to him and know that we are on the same page, and that he's not going to get as frustrated or mad or whatever if I bring up something that, maybe we should do different, or this is where the money went. Well, why? A whole gambit of things as far as the finances go. But I don't have that anxiety anymore about talking with my husband about finances, and that is a tremendous piece.
And I love, even Rob, like, I would love for you to share, just for the ladies out there, I think this would serve you. Rob, when she came to you and you would find yourself getting angry and frustrated, was it really about Heather in that moment?
No. Yeah. No, not at all. It was all of the other things that were just rolling around on the inside of me, and we weren't communicating. So anything was just like, there's so much pressure in the pot, and you touch the release valve, it comes out. It wouldn't have mattered who came to talk to me about that at all. And to touch on kind of what Heather was saying, a big aha moment for me in processing all of that kind of stuff is I remember learning that it was okay to feel the feelings that I'm feeling, and just having someone tell me that, then like they got it. That was so freeing for me to understand that I was normal and it was okay to feel those feelings. And now here's how to deal with them and process them in a healthy way.
Right.
And that probably for me has been the most life-changing thing that I've been through in the program so far. And I think I wrote down earlier today that it was just like, now I can process things that normally would have stressed me out. And I find myself, laughing during the workday when someone does something silly, at work. And before I would have been like, really mad, like calling them stupid or something, even though they couldn't hear me through the monitor. I'd be talking to them like they were in the room and tell them how dumb they were for doing whatever. And now it's just like, oh, well, and it just kind of like rolls off my back and doesn't bother me like it used to. And it's just because I've learned how to deal with things like that and realize that I'm not a bad person for feeling a feeling. It's, the way that you react to that, and you don't even have to react to it in a particular way. You can just let it go by. It doesn't have to, overtake you.
So how were some of those feelings, those emotions that you didn't know how to work through, and even the beliefs stemming from a lot of that, or leading to those emotions? How are those things sabotaging? I'd love for you guys to just, again, coach the people right now that are listening, and that, they might be, they're trying, they're like, my income's not going up. The debt's not going down. We're not sticking to things. But like you guys have realized that you have to get under the hood and figure out what's going on. So how are some of those things sabotaging you? Because you guys have made more money this year. You guys have made some huge progress on your debt. All of these different things, but how do you feel like those things were sabotaging you, before?
You're talking about the emotional feelings,
yeah. The emotions, like all of the stuff that you guys work through, and we're able to uncover, and to be able to, again, we call them uncover it, stomp on it, turn it into fertilizer for your dream. How did you feel like, again, like just getting over those things, ended the self-sabotage and started to really make progress? Because that's what I'd love to see, hear some people here.
Yeah, for me, it's just like it removed a lot of the fear. I removed a lot of the when you're full of for me anyway, when I'm full of all these feelings, or was in the past, about stress over finances, stress over, our relationship, or whatever it was, that just felt, you're always telling us to, where do you feel that in your body? For me, it always just felt like a constriction right here in the middle of me, like preventing me from doing anything that would be in step with my dreams, or taking a step in that direction. Because until I fixed this, now I know what I needed to fix. Until I fixed this, I wasn't going to take any steps. And, historically, that's exactly what was true. I didn't take any steps for my dreams. I didn't take any steps to fix my relationship. I had a lot of strategies that I wanted to implement, but I want to stress and underline, it was wanted to implement, felt like I needed to implement, was going to implement someday. All of those, not active phrases, because of this here in the middle, for me, where I felt that in my body, I was frozen. I could not move forward on any of those things. Wow. And there was a constant source of just like self-hatred. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah. Which then comes out sideways toward, it's like, oh, my husband, he's angry with me. And it's like, he just hates himself. And that's why I want you to share that, because I think a lot of women, they're afraid to have this conversation about, hey, can we start to make progress together? Can we do this together? And you think that he's just angry with you. And deep down, every man in this kind of position, I know that was me. At the end of the day, I just felt like a failure. I felt like a loser. I felt like I wasn't enough. I wasn't doing my job as a provider. And I was angry at myself. I was ashamed of myself. And so again, every time, it's like, hey, can we buy this, or can we do this? It was just one big reminder that, oh, by the way, you suck and you're not enough. And even if my wife wasn't saying that and Heather wasn't saying it, that's just what you feel. And so hopefully, again, this can help you guys, if you're watching this, get a little bit more compassion and understanding, and realizing it's probably not about you. It's just that, again, hurt people hurt people. And if you're trying to go to your spouse or someone to talk about this stuff, just come ready, and from that place of forgiveness and compassion, knowing that, again, it's probably not even really about you, and there's something deeper going on. And when you can heal that, now the magic can start to happen in your relationship and your progress. And even for you, Heather, let me ask you, because you started, I think people keep always asking, is he going to make us start a business or something? And, all this kind of funny stuff, it just cracks me up. But it's like, how many people end up coming to us and end up just like, I want to start a business, especially like stay-at-home moms, or people that haven't necessarily been, even though you've been saving lots of money and managing and doing an amazing job. It's like, you have more to offer, that you have some gifts to the world, that you really have time underneath all of the reasons why we say we can't. Like, what do you feel like freed you up to start taking steps? Because even you started a business, you went through this, you took on a course, you went through all, it's like, and now you're, you've made it's crazy how much you've gotten done as well in the last few months. Like, what do you think helped you finally take that step from just this is as far as I can go, or this is just where I'm at, and like actually stepping into that, into that next journey and adventure?
First and foremost, probably being on the same page, just being able to communicate better and knowing that I have his support, fully. Dealing with different emotions. I have been in the past very, very, very insecure in most areas of my life, is anywhere from physique to being a good enough wife, mother, housekeeper, you name it. It was all there. This is helping me deal with some of that and letting me get past a lot of that so that I can feel confident and take a course that I had looked into months before, but did not have the confidence to hit the button, nor the confidence to spend the money on the course. That would have been,
or the time.
I mean,
which again, no one has,
Yeah. And I can't say that that's not still a work in progress. That's definitely one of my weaker points that I'm working on. But with homeschool and housekeeping and all the other stuff that's just normal day-to-day life, I always felt overwhelmed. And being able to have the arsenal to deal with those feelings has helped immensely. So stepping forward and starting a proofreading business is a huge step for me. We're getting there. It won't be long before the doors are wide open. So
yeah, well, it's so funny because like Sarah in our last interview, she did the same thing. She was like, "Oh, I want to do this course too," and whatever. It's just kind of fun. And guys, again, the magic is not in the course. The magic is not in the whatever, all these things. It's who you become in the journey. But just for anyone watching, and again, what's so cool is like, I didn't tell you need to start a business. You need to sign up for something right there. Like, I think people are so freaked out. It's like, oh my God, but what's amazing is when you can get rid of the overwhelm and the self-doubt and the anger and all of those sorts of things and all the fears and the belief, I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't whatever, which even then I can laugh because it's like, oh, I don't have time, I'm still working through it. Yeah. And she aced the test with flying colors, and she's got and whatever, and she's got this, and she's got that. So yeah, you're doing a great job, Heather. But it's like, but again, if your plate is completely full, go back to Thanksgiving, guys. It's only been like a month or whatever. So go back to that plate. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you filled up. Oh yeah. Full like that. I mean, it is overflowing. The gravy's spilling onto the table. You're like, whatever, I've got napkins. It's great. And it's like, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh my, you're halfway through the meal. Oh my gosh, I just remembered the stuffing, or oh my gosh, I just remembered the rolls, or oh my gosh. And you're just like, I can't handle that. Like, and you start to, oh man, this sucks. And you're like, oh man, I missed it. And so guys, again, if you feel like your plate is completely full and it's full of overwhelm and self-doubt and self-hatred, all these sorts of things, I can't do it. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I don't have the whatever. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the education. All of those sorts of things. There's no room for your dream. There's no room for more income. There's no room for a dream business. There's no room for greater, intimacy, a desire. There's no room for that. So you have to create space, which means we have to start dealing one by one with what are those internal things that are not serving you. And then when you stack strategy on it, like we teach, then the strategy is actually going to work. But until you guys work through all the internal resistance, guys, none of it's going to work. No. And so that's what's amazing is like you guys just self-initiated. It's like, I didn't tell you to go do this or do this. I mean, even Rob, you started a consulting business. How many years did you have that LLC, by the way? What was it?
I didn't have an LLC on my own. I was just like doing freelance, just.
There was something that you created. Wasn't it like you created like 10 or 15 years ago, or like a company or name?
Oh yeah. A friend of mine and me, we went out and made a company on our own and did that for like a year and hated it and quit and went back to the office world. So
yeah. And then you kept it and it was like, it's just sitting there. And it's like, and then he just took it up and he did it. And even from that, Rob, I mean, since we started, how much money have you been able to increase just between salary, things like that? And guys, is your marriage suffering because of it? Is your family suffering, or do your kids hate you? Do
No.
you feel like, are you letting yourself go? Is everything falling apart? It's like there's so many myths about what it takes to make more money and be more successful, and it's like you're having it all. You can have it all. So let's talk about that. What's shifted in terms of that?
I was just thinking about that the other day. Like literally, when you said, "Do my kids hate me?" Are the relationships still the same? It's just like, yeah, I don't know how all of this is still great, and I'm doing consulting in the evening and not sitting around watching TV, and still working a full-time job during the day, and I still feel close to my kids. I feel closer than ever to my wife. Like tomorrow, my daughter and I are going out for a daddy-daughter day and going to spend some time together and probably get our nails done and things like that. And yeah, it's crazy. Like,
and even spend money
because it does. Yeah. And we budgeted for it. It does sound again trite to say, but it's just like I do feel like we're having it all. I've told you before, I feel like I'm super wealthy already, and I'm just waiting on, the money to get here to fill up the bank account to match how I feel, because it's such a night and day difference from where it was like 4 months ago. It's crazy.
Well, and it's cool that, like, again, the money that we're talking about down the road, it's like it's on its way. But even now, I mean, let's just share. I mean, how much, what shifted in terms of even income over the past few months? Because you've made some pretty big strides.
Yeah. So the side business will bring me in an extra like $30,000 or so over the course of the year, and then just improved my 9 to 5. So I'm a contractor at my current role. Which means I basically just get an hourly wage. There's no PTO, there's no benefits, no nothing of that. So basically just your hourly wage. The new job, which starts on January the 4th, is full benefits, 32 days of paid time off, $1,000. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
$1,000 signing bonus. There's profit sharing. There's performance bonuses built in on top of the salary that I got, which was a pretty big bump in pay. So a little over, between that and the side business, a little over $40,000 extra a year.
Plus what are the benefits worth? Oh
yeah, the benefits are worth a lot. Yeah.
20, 30,000 between that, PTO, everything, insurance. I mean, and again, was I having to breathe down your throat and scream at you and tell you to go do this, or was it just from a place of and freedom and excitement?
We had a conversation, and you said, I remember because I wrote it down, and you said, job number 1 for you is improve your 9 to 5, get a better 9 to 5 because you're worth more than what you're being paid. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to work and find that. And so.
What helped you start to actually believe that, though? Because again, a lot of people are watching that, and again, if they probably feel stuck in some level. And I remember you even telling me before, it's like, the thought of getting into the multiple 6-figure range in terms of like income and starting to move toward that. It was just never on the radar. It's like you didn't think it was possible. And then all of a sudden, it's like these job postings start coming up and things. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like they were there and they never were there before. And it's like you just weren't looking for it because you didn't think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It really was about mindset. I mean, it was like, what do you believe about yourself? Are you worth this on your insides? Do you really believe that you are worth this amount of money? Because there clearly are people out there that were making that money because suddenly I started seeing the job postings, but because I had such negative self beliefs about me that it was just like, I was just skimming over things like that. It wasn't even registering it because it was so far disconnected from what I believed about myself. It just didn't sink into my brain enough to even like catch on to a thought where I'd say, oh, maybe I want to look at that. I just wasn't even seeing them because I hated me so much and didn't have any confidence in myself.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like there was even at least a job or two in the past where the pay would have been a lot more, but but I'm not sure that I can handle that or I'm qualified for that, or there's a lot of doubt and just would turn it down.
Or I would listen to what other people at work said about me and what they thought I was capable of. And then I would internalize that and think, well, they're smarter than me. And that's how I viewed them. So their opinion was worth more than mine. And I would internalize that and say, well, now that's my belief because this person that I think is smarter than I am is already making more money than me. And they've told me that I need to work on this, this, and this before I can do X, Y, and Z. it was a matter of just listening to you and kind of turning that around, that yes, I am, fearfully and wonderfully made. God has given me talents. I am good at this. I have been doing this a really long time. I have left teams and they've bought me like 3D printers to say thank you for working with us. That's not somebody who isn't good at their job and isn't a great teammate to work with. So yeah, I just had to start seeing that, and you helped me think about that differently and see myself differently. So when I did, I started seeing the opportunities that were in line with that.
That's so awesome. And it's obviously, guys, there's strategies with, how to network the right way. And like, when you're doing the interview, but even then, guys, like you can get the most amazing interview in the world. That's where people are missing it. They're like, oh, it's just about my job application. It's about my cover letter. And then it's like you get in the job and then it's like, and you blow it because again, guys, who wants to hire the guy? Or definitely it's like, who's going to get paid what they really want? If it's like deep down, they're like, you can tell this guy doesn't believe in himself. And guys, like, it'd be like if you went to the doctor and, you're going to need a triple bypass and you're getting wheeled into surgery and you're like, oh, doc, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so grateful for you. I'm just really glad that you feel confident enough to help. Well, about that. It's, I've been doing it a couple years. Had some wins, had some losses. But I think, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be fine. I mean, you'd be like, get me out of here, you'd be peeling yourself out of the hospital. Right. It's one of those things where it's not, then some people watching it, and maybe Rob, maybe you felt this. I think a lot of people, again, coming into it, it's like, it's, oh, this sounds like a bunch of woo-woo mindset, whatever, kind of emotional. Well, I don't need any of that crap. I don't need it. And guys, again, it's not all that. It's not all of just your beliefs and emotions. But guys, it's the majority. It's the meat and potatoes of it, honestly. Because again, I've given, when I first started, it's like I would give people those tools and resources, and then it's like they wouldn't do it. And it's like, and it's the fact that you're just not in the game. There's something keeping you from fully getting in the game and engaging, because it's like you guys knew, okay, if you want to get out of debt quicker, it's like, well, you should pay this credit card off with this interest, right? Tackle this, and then you should do this, and here's how you save. And it's like you guys knew what to do in terms of when you have the money, when it is working for you, when you're committed. But it was like, what's keeping you from being all in and really living up to your fullest financial potential? And not just that, but again, who you've been as a parent. Even I just even want to talk about that for a second. Like what shifts have happened even in your relationship with your kids? Because I know that was important for you. And I want you guys to harp on that, because again, Heather, you both taken on, Rob, you started a side business that you're doing. Heather, you got a business. So I think a lot of people in their head, it's like, well, they're going to be more distant from their kids. They're going to feel more disconnected from their kids. They're not going to be as available for their kids. But guys, what has even shifted on that level in relation to your daughter, to your son? I mean, just even on that, what's some of the cool stuff that you're excited about?
I think for me, it's like getting rid of the fear on the inside of me. I would always want to keep work separate from family, like entirely. I had a bad habit in the past of like siloing those types of things. Like if dad's down in his office working, I don't want my daughter down here bothering me. So now it's like, if she comes by during the middle of the day, I stop, we have a conversation. Maybe I show her, I bore her to death and show her what I'm working on or whatever. But I was telling Heather that I think we just need to live more out in the open and stop hiding all of these little things. And like, we're going to show everybody how awesome this is when we're all done. But until then, you can't be a part of it, because I don't want you to see mom and dad making mistakes or making messes or, not doing it right. Air quotes. So now I think we both just try and live all of that out in front of them instead of trying to wait till it's all perfect and then show them what to do. And I think that's a lot more valuable.
Yeah. And do you guys see your kids engaging more, like getting more excited about the process and who you're becoming? It's like, are they starting to say some things or notice some things a little bit lately?
I know Isabella does with the like the vision boards and stuff like that. She's got things that she knows that we're working towards that they're going to affect her, like the horse that she wants to have someday. And so now when we have financial conversations where we're just like, we're not going to buy this, that, or whatever it is, because we're going to save for this instead. She gets that. And she's not
Doesn't
perfect
always like
because
it.
she's 11. So there's some pushback sometimes. But now I personally see like a completely different conversation than what it would have been a year ago. It would have just been this really awkward, well, why? And, you know, the back and forth that you do with kids sometimes. And now it's more of like a more grown up discussion of like, from almost like a responsibility standpoint, this is why we're doing this. And she's just like, oh, okay, I get that. And we're moving towards a goal.
Because a lot of people, that's so important, because a lot of you guys watching, it's like, you feel like, man, half the reason why I can't figure this out is because my kids keep asking for stuff and, you know, they don't understand. And guys, again, we make emotions, you know, we make decisions from our emotions. And so again, when your kid is coming to you crying or upset, or you feel like they're getting picked on because they don't have the latest this, or they want to go on this trip, but they can't, and all of their friends are going to be talking about it. I mean, it's hard for you as a parent to say no. And I don't want you guys to have to say no. Again, that's one of the things you guys keep hearing is like, you're going to find that you're saying yes more. It's like Rob's going, getting his nails done. Never would have probably done that before. It's like, you know, you can actually say yes to more because now you have the money to do so. It's more freed up. It's more intentional. You can be excited when you're spending it versus regretting it. But on those moments where you do have to say no, or it's not a permanent no. A lot of times it's more so it's like, hey, not yet, but we're going to get there. And there's no such thing as we can't afford it or it's too expensive, because that's a whole mirage. It's just a matter of you can afford whatever you're committed to. And so again, it's like, okay, it's no longer, it's like, well, oh yeah, horse, we'll have a horse one day. Sure, honey, we'll have a unicorn, because that's basically what that is. It's like, yeah, no, it's like, it's like, here's how we're going to do that. Here's where we're going to go. And you can invite your kids into the process. And guys, your kids can become some of the greatest cheerleaders for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus feeling like they're just weights dragging you down, like holding you back, making you feel like a crappy parent. Your kids can be some of your greatest advocates and cheerleaders and support, because again, it's not just about your dreams. It's like, hey, how can we make your dreams a reality too? How can we get you to the horse? It's like, how do we get to horse 2022 or 2023? How do we get there? What does it look like? How can we make that possible? So I'm just so proud of you, you know, like who you've become just individually as parents. Rob, I know even for you, just again, we don't have to go into your story, but again, just being the dad that you always needed and wanted.
Yeah.
It's like stepping into that place of like, you know, you didn't have that example. And it's like, and who you've become and created, it's like, I would be proud to be your son. And again, it's like, I'm just so freaking amazed at who you've become, Rob, because you're just a shining example of leadership in your home, with your wife, with your children. And like every day in every way, I just see more light, more confidence, more love, more of Christ just shining through you. And your kids are going to keep seeing it. Your family's going to see it. Your community's going to see it. And you guys are really going to change the world. I mean, you already are, you know, starting this little, you know, out in, you know, whatever, rural Missouri, wherever the heck you guys are at. It's like, we're starting there, starting home, and just going out from there, just being a beacon of light and hope. And again, I know that there's so many people that are going to watch this and say, oh my gosh, it's like this guy was in my head or she was in my head the whole time. This is exactly what I feel. So thank you guys for being that light. And just finally, before we go, any final just parting words that you just want to give to the audience in terms of just encouragements or, you know, where to go from here? What would you guys say?
I want to underline that this has not been like sit and believe it and it's just going to change for you. That for me anyway, my self-beliefs and changing those beliefs has changed my actions. And that has been the key thing of why I've moved forward to, you know, start that consulting business, why I went out and got a better 9-to-5 and things like that. And why we've changed our relationship. It's because I think we are believing different things about ourselves that are true. And that is improving the world around us and where we want to go. So I just really want to underscore, this is not a kumbaya, just, you know, believe it and achieve it kind of thing. It's belief that leads to much better actions in your life, or that's the way that I've seen it. Yeah.
So what would you say to the person that's like, but Rob, I keep failing. But Rob, I've tried taking action 1,000 times. It's just not working for me.
Yeah, I can just say that, you know, this is the guy who spent 2 days writing a financial application to pay off a debt snowball. And that was all strategy. But I wasn't believing anything different about myself, what I could really achieve. I wasn't digging up all of the stuff. Like, it's hard to put into words, like how
the roadblocks
deep you dig in this course to uncover what's going on the inside of you and to change those beliefs. It is not like a fill out a worksheet, sign it, Jeremy signs it, and then suddenly you change. It's not like that at all. There's a lot of soul searching. We've had a lot of deep conversations that would have been impossible 6 months ago. It would have been a huge argument because we wouldn't have been able to have those kinds of emotional discussions.
Wow.
But you've shown us how to do those types of things. And that's what this is about, is like uncovering that stuff on the inside of you, digging that up. And like you said, stomping on it, making it a fertilizer for your dreams. So
I love it.
Yeah. If the course had only 1% to deal with money and the rest is worth every penny, because we already knew, as we said, the snowball, we knew how to do it, but it was all the other stuff that had us bound up and in knots and emotionally constipated and not able to have conversations, which now I yearn for. If we don't get to talk one day, I am in withdrawal. I love talking with my husband.
I love that. So beautiful. It's so precious. Just let it out. That's awesome.
Yeah, it just there's so much that we did not by any stretch of the imagination expect to learn.
Right.
That has just been invaluable. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. So guys, I mean, you've heard it, you've seen it. Again, guys, it's not like, I mean, obviously you got to put in the work, you got to put in the time. And like from day one, what makes you guys exceptional is like, you really did dig in, like everything we said, hey, here's what we need, here's what to do. I mean, you went deep and you went to those places and you really took the time and you put in the effort. So guys, again, it's not like, like you said, it's not like you just sit around, sing Kumbaya, hold hands and, and just, play, fuzzy music in the background, but you really do. But it's a matter of, even if you're like, okay, I need to do the work, but like, I'm afraid I'm not going to do it. Just guys realize like there's a huge difference between being alone with a video in your living room and like having an entire army of people surrounding you and someone who's going to hold your hand and connect you and hold you accountable and help you overcome those roadblocks, so that when you feel like quitting, when you feel like giving up, really the things that keep you from making momentum, you can work through and we can get rid of that stuff so that you can stick to it, that you can keep going, and that, 6 months from later, a year from now, 10 years from now, you're still on track and you're continuing to up level because, you're committed to victory and success and you've transformed who you are in the process. So, should they book a call, guys? I'm just wondering, should they do it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Make the call. Yeah. Don't cancel it. Don't make it 4 calls like I did.
It's funny because for Rob, it was like, he just didn't, he was just like, like you said, he just had so much self-doubt, so much he's been burned like that, and it's like, he's like, I'm so glad that you advocated for me and that you didn't hang up, because I almost did. And guys, like, he's not angry Rob anymore. He's not the Hulk. He's not pissed off, skeptical, frustrated. It's like who he is now. This was the real you, Rob. It's like, but we just had to call him forth again. And so again, just know, guys, I can take it. We'll have fun. It's not like every it's not like every call is like that. You were just a little bit more in suffering and in pain. And that's how we see it, guys. I mean, people that bite back, it's like the dog you're reaching out in the pool to pull out the drowning dog. It's like, if it bites your hand, it's not because it's, it's just scared. It's terrified. It's angry, and so, how dang it, I found this pool. It's like, I don't know how to get out. Maybe this guy, is he going to shove me under? Or is he going to help me out? You don't know what to do. So we are here to help. We are here to serve. And Rob and Heather, love you guys to death. Can't wait to keep rocking with you. It's only going to get better from here. So cannot wait to see where you guys go. We'll do a follow-up interview, I'm sure, sir, one day. And it's like, and you guys are just going to keep being an inspiration and light to so many people in your community here. And again, if you got value from this, please leave a comment. Feel free to even just say thank you to them, because guys, it was such a generous share. There was so much gold in this interview that is very actionable that people can implement. And again, if you guys need help, go to jeremykurlikowski.com/apply. If you're married, you can just go to dreamteammarriage.com. It'll take you to the same place, and go ahead and book a call. We'll see what we can do to help you guys, serve you. We'll get clear on what's holding you back, where are you stuck, why are you stuck, and then where do you want to go? We'll create a plan. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about your dreams. We're going to go. For Rob and Heather, it was the ranch, it was the horse, it was the different things and what they wanted to create. It was what they wanted to have happen in their marriage. And but everyone's different and everyone has different goals. That's why we need to get to know you. That's why we have a conversation first before we start talking about what's the right fit for you, because it may not be us. I don't know. And, and it's honestly, guys, there's some people that they're just mean, or they're whatever. They're not. And we're not really confident we can help, or we don't want to help. So, but I'm sure that will never be you. Right. But I'm just saying, guys, it's like, it requires a conversation and just really getting to know like what's going on, because of, giving a prescription, without a thorough diagnosis, I just feel like is malpractice. And so again, we got to take the time to know what's going on under the hood and where you want to go. And then again, if we can help, we'll let you know. So again, guys, thank you, Rob and Heather. So grateful for you guys. This was an awesome interview. So inspiring. And again, guys, we'll see you guys on the next show. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.